My wife's boyfriend laughed on the phone. Then he realized his laugh didn't sound like a man's. It sounded like a knife dragged across glass. I held the phone away, but the echo still burned my ear. He was mocking me, mocking what he thought I didn't know. "You're pathetic," he said between chuckles. "She's with me now. You'll never be enough." Then came silence. Not mine, not his, hers. Because my wife stood in the kitchen doorway, her hands frozen around a half-empty glass, listening to every poisoned syllable. The call was on speaker. He hadn't realized it yet. And in that pause, in that sudden fracture of sound, his laughter collapsed. I could hear the recognition dripping through his breath, the panic crawling in where arrogance had lived only seconds ago. I said nothing. I didn't need to. The silence was heavier than any words I could throw. Inside me, something cracked, but I didn't scream. I didn't confront. I stored it away, deep, where rage turns cold. Because I knew this was only the beginning. The glass in her hand trembled. She tried to set it down gently, but it clinked against the counter, betraying her composure. She wouldn't meet my eyes. That told me enough. Infidelity isn't revealed in shouts. It's revealed in what isn't said, in the way a throat tightens, in the way pupils shrink under sudden light. He didn't hang up. I could still hear his shallow breathing through the speaker, waiting for me to rage, to scream, to give him the satisfaction of brokenness. I didn't. Instead, I pressed end call. Slowly, deliberately. Then silence. The kind of silence that expands between two people until it suffocates one of them. She opened her mouth, searching for words, but nothing came. Excuses would have been too fragile, lies too obvious. I walked past her without speaking, went upstairs, closed the door, and in that quiet, the war began, not with noise, but with thought. I became an observer in my own life, a detective disguised as a husband. She tried harder after that night. Texts in the morning, soft touches in the evening. But overcompensation is a louder confession than neglect. I checked her phone when she showered. Numbers unsaved, but repeated. Patterns of time. Lunch breaks that lasted longer than they should. I began keeping notes. Dates, times, fragments of conversations I overheard through thin walls. Every piece of her deception neatly cataloged in the quiet order of my mind. I ordered a DNA kit. Not for curiosity, but for certainty. Our son, the boy who had my eyes, or so I thought. The boy who looked at me with a trust I hadn't earned, because trust cannot exist in a house built on lies. While she slept beside me, breathing steady, I sat in the glow of my phone, scrolling through her messages. Words of intimacy she never spoke to me. Plans she made with him. A hotel receipt she'd carelessly left in her email trash. The rage never came as fire. It came as ice. Each discovery cooled me further, until all that remained was calculation. I did not confront her. Not yet. I wanted her trapped in her own theater, performing loyalty while the stage beneath her rotted. I was patient, because truth is most lethal when revealed at the right moment. The envelope arrived 3 weeks later, plain, clinical. I opened it at the table where she made breakfast every morning. She was humming softly, as if sound could distract from guilt. The paper inside was thin, but it carried more weight than any stone. Not mine. The boy was not mine. I folded the results neatly, slid them back into the envelope, and placed it on the counter. "Open it," I said. My voice was flat, steady. She frowned, confused. Then her eyes skimmed the words, and the color drained from her face. Her lips trembled, but she couldn't speak. Tears welled, but I didn't allow them power. I didn't shout. I didn't demand explanations. I simply watched her unravel. That was enough. That night, I dialed the same number she thought she had hidden. When he answered, I switched the call to speaker. She was sitting across from me, her face hollow, her hands shaking. "You laughed," I said calmly. "Do you remember?" A pause. His breathing quickened. "She's here," I continued, "listening, just like last time." The silence that followed was a graveyard. She buried her face in her hands. He whispered her name once, broken, desperate. I leaned forward, letting my voice cut through them both. "She knows I know, and you both know what that means." I ended the call. Slowly, deliberately. I stood, took my jacket, walked to the door. She begged me not to leave, words tumbling over sobs, but I didn't look back. Some prisons don't need walls. She was already locked inside one of her own making. I drove with the windows down, the night air sharp against my skin. There was no rage left, no grief, just clarity. My daughter's voice still echoes in my skull, the last plea of a child abandoned by everyone but me. I couldn't save her life, but I could strip the mask from those who betrayed her, and I did. When they led my wife away, her eyes met mine one last time. She searched for pity, for weakness, for the man who once loved her. He wasn't there. All that remained was silence. Cold, final, and absolute. Because sometimes closure isn't healing, it's erasure.